Welcome to Hat Trick. I am Jordan Dowler-Coltman. I'm joined by Elliot Tanti and Braden Dowler-Coltman. Braden, Elliot, we have been off for 2 weeks now, almost. Feels like a long time since we were all together because we took last week off for the long weekend. A lot has happened. There is a lot to discuss in the world of sports. And we've got a couple busy topics where we're just going to jam way too much content in. So I apologize in advance if this episode feels a little bloated, but it's May and we're getting into barbecue season and everything's a little bloated. Here we go.
Listen to whatever you want. You don't have to stick around.
All right. Topic one, as I said, we're going to pay homage to the winner of the Best Picture Oscar this year with Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I'm going to jam more sports content into this one topic than could possibly be imagined. I believe the term is 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. That's what we're going to attempt here. I want to point out that we, as I said, we're off for a week. So there's even more than what I'm about to list, but this is a list of all of the sporting events you could have enjoyed over the last week, and more specifically over the last 2 days of this weekend. We had the Monaco Grand Prix, all 3 days of that for Formula One. You had the Indy 500, arguably one of the most famous races in the world and certainly one of the biggest sporting events in America in terms of viewership. We had NBA and NHL conference championship rounds, all four games in both different leagues. Had at one point a series that was being led 3-0 by somebody, and two of those series are still going on. So there's some storylines for you. The Memorial Cup is underway in Kamloops. The host Blazers got lit up in game one and then lit up Peterborough in game two. The World Championship was just crowned over in, I guess it was in Sweden. Where were they playing? I don't even know. Somewhere in Europe, but we had some crazy games and we also had some crazy upsets. We'll talk about that. We have the Schwab PGA Tour event. We had MLS soccer going on. You could have watched CFL preseason. You could watch the early rounds of the French Open. I can go on all day. There's so
it's
much
a little
sports
bloated.
Right. Oh, you know what I didn't even mention in here? Baseball season in full swing. Lots and lots of very bloated. The whole calendar bloated. So for a little bit of relief, let's try to remove some of the pressure and discuss some of these things sort of in a rapid fire way. I guess the first thing is this, Elliot. You had all those choices, a cornucopia of sports viewing for your pleasure. What did you watch? What has grabbed your attention and actually been able to get you to watch something amongst all of the selection? Or are you just flipping back and forth?
You aimed a lot of things there. Certainly watched some of that. But I think the thing that I've been most interested in is something you didn't even mention. CFL preseason, baby.
I mentioned it.
Okay, making sure I didn't hear it. I was cut out for a second.
You watched the CFL preseason?
Yeah. So
is it televised?
Yeah, it's televised. I think they got a television.
You went live. You went to the game, didn't you?
Look, there is lots of excitement here in Edmonton about the Elks. And I think that is where I'm going to be focusing my attention to start the year. They had an awful year last year. It's a rebuilding year, but they've signed and brought on like everyone and their uncle to this training camp, just like they did last year, but they have a better idea of what's happening. They've signed some stars in the off season, and there is lots of excitement about this Chris Jones led football team. And frankly, it's kind of captured my eye. So what I'm watching right now and what I'm thinking about is the upcoming Elks season. I think there is energy and excitement in this city. Obviously it's been a really tough 3 years. We haven't won a home game here in like something like 1,000 days or something ridiculous like that, like absolutely insane. So we're hoping, that'll be the first goal, win a game at home. But did
they win the preseason game?
No, I think they lost by 2. And all the preseason games were really short.
Now, Elliot, did you go?
No, I didn't go, but I've been following it and watching it. And I was in Calgary when the team was in Calgary during all the smoke and stuff. So I actually passed by the team walking in downtown Calgary.
So, Braden, I will pose the same question to you. I know that you are also one of those consumers of sports on like the replay or the 30-minute sort of recap. So, like, I'm sure you're getting more than sitting down for like a full game necessarily. But what have you been watching? What have you been following? And what do you think have been the most sort of attractive of all of the options?
I think for sure, the later the rounds get in the playoffs, the NBA and the NHL, it gets a little bit more exciting. The drama becomes a little bit more written as the games go on. Lots of history is being made. There's some players in the NBA that are surpassing some of the all-time statistics and points in the playoffs. Just incredible performances, and you start to see. Yeah, just greatness as these teams continue. I think that the NBA is set for a really exciting finals, and it's also a finals. We don't know what the team in the East obviously is going to be yet, but I mean, we're seeing teams that aren't usually here. We're seeing the Florida Panthers going on crazy runs in the NHL, and Vegas was there in their inaugural season, but they haven't been back, and they've got all these guys. I'm just saying, there's so many things that have been catching my eye. I think ultimately, the later these playoffs go, those are the things that I've been most drawn attention to.
And you know what, Braden, you're right. Like those are two. Obviously, they're the two biggest leagues right now playing. I mean, the Major League Baseball, but it's early season. This is huge. NBA and NHL playoffs, and it comes down to the final four teams on each, in each league. And we're going to talk about that in topic two. But I mean, what's crazy about it is that for both those leagues, they have to also be going, like, where did all this competition come from? Where did all of these different options to watch? Like, you really couldn't have asked for a busier May in terms of, and I don't just mean because, look, spring's always got lots of different sporting options, but I feel like more than in a long time, all of them have like heightened stakes, heightened drama, heightened energy. I mean, I'm just going to tease the fact that I guarantee you on Tuesday, if you listen to the Pit Stop podcast, you're going to hear a very excited Tyler Walzak, because Monaco, usually it's a parade of cars going through the streets. It's boring. It started pouring rain halfway through that race, and the drama went through the roof. Like it was insane. It was a lot of fun. So if you're watching that, like that is another thing that was higher than expectations, right? IndyCar, I've never watched IndyCar in my life. It's not a sport I've ever followed. As a Formula One fan, I get it. It's open wheel racing in America, but they drive around most of their races in a circle. The end of the IndyCar 500 today was insane. They ended up red flagging it with 3 laps to go. They had to go into the pits. It felt a lot like the drama at the end of the Formula One season 2 years ago in Abu Dhabi, where you had a guy in the lead who all of a sudden was sitting there looking at a red flag and everyone behind him coming after him. And the guy in second place overtook him on the last corner to win, even though he dominated the entire race. Like, just stole it from him. Great drama. Really exciting. I mean, again, the Memorial Cup has these huge lopsided scores. That gets people excited. The World Championship, I want to spend a second talking about that, because that's the other hockey right now. This is usually the other tournament, like the boring. You might watch this at 7:00 in the morning if you happen to be up before work or something, and the TV's on and TSN's there. And obviously TSN puts a lot of money into it because they don't own the NHL playoffs. And so they've always tried to hype it, but usually it's really boring. In Canada and the United States and Sweden and Finland, they just blow everybody out, and that's the tournament. Latvia beat the United States today for the bronze medal, and the gold medal game, although it ended up being pretty lopsided 5-2, we're talking about Germany without Leon Draisaitl in the finals against Canada, the World Championship, the men's World Championship.
Which means
and they took
US
the lead in the hockey game
as well.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's insane how this tournament just all of a sudden had these underdog storylines, which is what makes it exciting. Did you watch any of that stuff, Braden?
Yeah, I did. I didn't watch the Germany game, but I wanted to see what this gold medal game would be like. And like, good hockey. And yeah. Germany, I mean, we've seen them progress, and the more the players are getting drafted into the league, that country is becoming a lot more of a powerhouse in hockey.
I mean, I think you said it, Jordan. The word for this month has been underdog. There's underdog stories everywhere. I mean, I'm thinking back. I should have mentioned this when you asked me first, because, of course, CFL has been the story for me and the underdogs that are the Elks this year. But what about the PGA Championship last year and all the stories related to that? Week, amazing. Or last week and weekend related, and all the stories related to that as well, too. Just like an excellent stories everywhere in the world of sports right now. And I don't know if this is a product of we're just really lucky and lots of good stuff's going on. Are we more engaged? Is the coverage better? It feels like in lots of sports where they're at the pinnacle of the game, and the margins are so thin, and it feels like in any sort of tournament, game, playoff series, anything can happen. There's been something in the air in the last 3 weeks, and I think the word underdog just stuck with me when you said it. That's what I've been thinking about.
No, for sure. Month of the underdog. It's a fantastic storyline, and we'll see again. We have, 2 more rounds to be decided in the 2 major sports that still are in their playoffs. We're going to talk about that in a second. But as you say, I think it just dawned on me, or it occurred to me as I sat, like I always like to check in on what else is going on around the sports world before we sit down to record this, because usually we kind of know what we want to talk about. There's some big storyline, or the Oilers if we're in the regular season or whatever. But I sat down today and I was like, oh, let me just check. And all of a sudden I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh my God, that was on today. Oh my God, that was on today. I'm looking at the score. Like just like the TSN ticker is so fat with content. It's insane. Literally bloated. That's what I'm saying. Like, I also can't imagine that this is an easy time to own like a sports bar that has like multiple TVs, because it's like, what do you put on all of them? You've got to literally have a little bit of everything, sort of sprinkled around.
And they do. And at all hours, you get soccer in Europe in the morning.
That's right. Because the Premier League championship's just been decided.
It's all going on. It's
Bundesliga. Great. Yeah, 100%. All right, let's leave it there. That's topic 1.
Creativity has the power to take our breath away, to move us to action or reaction, to invite us to feel more fully alive. And when the creativity is coming out of the kitchen of a local restaurant, the experience has the power to do all of the above and put a smile on your face. Q Burger in Qualicum Beach on Vancouver Island is home to culinary creativity led by owners Aaron and Kevin. Together, they have managed to make a local burger joint a must-stop on any trip up the central coast of the island. In fact, readers of Canadian Living magazine recently voted it one of the top 5 burger restaurants in Canada. And if you're saying, yeah, but a burger joint's a burger joint, then let me ask you, what other burger joint allows you to choose between a Boomageddon, all caps, with double the beef, double the bacon, and double the cheese, and Wicked Sticky, where the roasted chicken breast is topped with balsamic reduction, roasted garlic, and fried brie, or the new Sonic Pickle Boomerito, yep, with an exclamation point. And if meat is not your treat, consider a Brock of Ages, the Thai Tuna Tornado Wrap, or halibut and chips caught fresh from the ocean 10 minutes down the street that morning. The fish, not the chips. Put it on your bucket list. Q Burger, locally owned and operated in Qualicum Beach, BC.
All right, topic 2. This is the one Braden's really been looking forward to. We got the NBA and the NHL conference finals going. 2 of them have already been decided. One of them wasn't even really close. But on the NBA side, we still have the Celtics and the Heat, who are looking at a game 7 after the Celtics have gotten now 1 game away from what has never been done before. Is that correct, Braden? No one's ever come back.
That's what they say. I think it's like in the
pretty phenomenal.
52-0 or something in this kind of statistic.
So I teased off the top about these 2 series, these two different leagues. We had four different matchups, right? 2 in each side, East and West in both leagues, and all 4 series went 3-0, which has never also happened before with those 2 teams matching up playoffs. That's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden you get a couple of different storylines. One, it's like who's going to dominate and knock somebody out. That ended up being the Florida Panthers, who are, as Elliot's already pointed out, part of the underdog storyline here of the spring. And yet they no longer look like underdogs, do they? Like they look very, very strong.
Yeah, they're a testament to who they've been playing.
For sure. They will now face an opponent that is yet to be decided, but we are watching a game 6 on Monday night between Dallas and the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's start there. We'll talk about the NBA after, because I feel like there's even better storylines there. But let's talk about Vegas, Dallas, Elliot. You know, I think our expectations were what they were going in. Did you expect it to go 3-0 and now all of a sudden see Dallas clawing its way back here in game 6? Like nobody had this on the scorecard.
No, I think, we on our picks as a show, We did split the difference. Braden and I have Vegas, and you had Dallas. But interesting, all of us in 7 games. We expected
Whoa, yeah,
tight and going the distance. So for Vegas to jump out to a 3-0 lead was really a huge surprise, obviously for all of us, and I think the entire hockey world. I mean, I think Vegas was on paper the better team, has more experience, players with experience at this level, but even not really, because Dallas was just there 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So yeah, every indication was that this was going to be close. Now I have to be honest. I watched parts of the first game. Well, of course, parts of the second game and parts of the third game. And then I haven't watched the last 2 because I just assumed Vegas was going to just take this over. When they lost the game 4, I was like, yeah, well, next one. Now, guess what I'll be doing? I'll be flipping between Alberta's election and this game tomorrow night, because
so you can watch it partially just so that the Vegas Golden Knights win. You're so clever, man. Your strategy on election night sounds like it's going to be perfect.
I might need something to take my mind off the results. Let's just
of the hockey game.
No, of the election.
Braden.
Yeah, I'm impressed that Dallas is still in it. I am really rooting for Joe Pavelski as an individual player to
I mean, I'm surprised his career's carried on, frankly.
Yeah, I thought he was done for sure.
Yeah.
I declared him dead.
How many
like
points
2 weeks ago?
How many goals has he gotten in the last 3 games?
He will never play again. Scores 4 goals again.
Yeah, no, that was one of my hottest flaming hot takes.
Hot takes. I do think Vegas will be able to finish the damage that Dallas has started right now. And in other news, I do think that the Boston-Miami game is going to come down to the last play in the NBA Game 7. It's 2 very, very good teams. Boston defense is amazing. It's incredible.
Let's jump to that. Let's talk about the NBA for a sec. So obviously, as similar to the NHL, one series ended pretty early. The Denver Nuggets made the Lakers look pretty pedestrian. Obviously, this feels a little bit like it's Jokic's time. And obviously, he's got a surrounding cast of very talented players who have played very well. Murray, especially, a little Canadian content in there. But this Miami Celtic series has been just like an absolute roller coaster. I don't know if you guys saw the clip that was going around online last night when they that buzzer beater that the Celtics, the rebound they ended up putting in to win the game by a point went in, but when the first shot went up, it missed. There was this viral clip or whatever of this wedding in the Miami area, and there's like a table of guys all sitting there watching the game on their phone, and the minute it hit the rim and bounced out, they all started jumping up and down, and then there's
like 0.4 seconds left, right?
Confetti cannons are going off. They had CO2 canisters going.
Flags.
The bride starts waving a giant Miami flag. The entire wedding is convinced they've won. They probably turned the phone off. They had no idea that they had missed the critical moment where actually the Celtics had just knocked them into a Game 7 and clawed their way all the way back to even in a series that it looked like the Celtics were dead after Game 2 or 3. Like that was the Celtics have had one of the most amazing resuscitations in recent memory. You've watched a lot more basketball, Braden, this year than I have. Like when you look at the way these two teams had matched up going into this series and how this series has played out, is this not what people should have already expected?
Yeah, you should expect this. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think to the greatness of some of the statistics in these performances. Like we're getting some unreal performances that are being compared to the likes of Michael Jordan or surpassing Larry Bird and these kinds of numbers. So I don't think that that's indicative of like what people should be expecting, but I think it's remarkable what is happening, and I think it's only just started. And the finals are coming up next week. So, and
we didn't make picks in this, but do we want to make picks?
I think we did 7? After the last 2 weeks.
Oh, did you?
I think I've been wrong every time, Elliot.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I don't think you had Miami making it this far.
No, I don't think a lot of people did.
So should we just hit the reset button and make picks for Game 7 Monday night? Braden, do you want to lead us off?
Happy to. Well, I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win regardless.
No. I want to know who they're playing. All I care about is Game 7. Pick the winner of Game 7.
This is how you got yourself into trouble.
TD Boston Garden. TD Boston Garden.
All right. I'll go with the Boston Celtics because they're at home.
The reverse sweep.
they're on the edge of it all means nothing if they don't get the next one.
True.
So
history can be
they've
made.
come this far. Might as well grab it while it's right in front of you.
Elliot?
I'll go with Miami. I think that the streak lives on. No team ever goes up 3-0, ever loses the series, and that continues.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the Florida Panthers and Miami Heat were both in the finals?
Yeah,
same year.
That's
what
what
I
I
was
was
make for some
about?
really, really shitty ice that is already
and a
really
lot
shitty.
of beer sales.
True. I will go with the Boston Celtics, and I'll tell you why. I would never want to be the team that lost 3 and then 4 in a row after being up 3-0. But all the pressure's on Miami.
Oh, 100%.
They are the away team. They lost game 6. They lost game 5. They lost game 4. Like they are so right now. It's all between the ears for Miami. And if they can pull it off, good for them. But to lose also the way they lost, I think hurts. Like it makes it even harder to get up for this game because
Really
you're
close.
so just like your morale I think your confidence just has to be knocked. You got to be thinking to yourself, like, what do we have to do to get this? And that's one thing that I think is never a good thing when you're up on the, up against this kind of situation, the pressure that's already here. You have to be able to be confident. You have to believe you can win. Teams, look at the Boston Celtics. They went into game 4 convinced they could win, and they did, and they've won all the way through. I feel like they've got all that mojo. So we'll see. But I'll take the Celtics. So Elliot's got the best chance here to be the winner, because we took the Celtics. Any final thoughts on these 4 sort of matchups here? Do we need to talk more about the Lakers and Nuggets, or
are we doing a hats off?
Yeah.
All right, I'll leave it for the hats off.
All right, great. Well,
no, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you now.
Let's get to it then. Here's that's the end of topic 2.
Hey, I'm Sayer, and I love Marvel.
And I'm Kaylee, and I love someone who loves Marvel.
And we're watching through the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, in release order.
There's another order.
For Kaylee's first time.
And Sayer's 85th.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find MCU.
And me!
Sayer's obsessed!
And Kaylee's the best!
MCU and me!
Okay. Braden, I know you've been sort of like one step ahead of us the whole way tonight.
Yeah.
So why don't we let you go first? Who are you taking your hat off to this fine Sunday evening?
I'm going to tip my hat off to a player that signed a 10-day contract in the NBA, I think in, I want to say February, March, halfway through the season. He comes on and you talked about pedestrian earlier, as the Lakers are, but this guy turned a 10-day contract into being arguably the 3rd best player on the Los Angeles Lakers behind Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I'm tipping my hat off to Austin Reeves, who is about to sign a very lucrative contract and be a very good player in the NBA for years to come.
Great one. Elliot, who have you got?
Yeah, my hat's off is to Michael Block. This is from the story from last week at the PGA Championship. This wonderful story kind of comes on, and what's the equivalent of like an amateur status, makes the cut, goes on a run, hits a hole-in-one in the final round, gets a ton of attention just when we're going back to underdog stories. I loved seeing this, all the people at his home course watching and all the love he got there. His kids, his family, just one of those stories that you only capture in sports. So hats off to Michael Block for a great weekend last weekend.
That's a great one. My hat is going to go off to Brittany Griner, who returned to the WNBA. I guess it was last week. I watched the video, I think last weekend when we weren't recording, but she made her official return to the hard court to play some basketball, the sport she loves, that she has been, I think probably for a very long time thinking about, would she ever play again? How would it feel to play again? All of those kind of feelings. A harrowing journey we've talked a lot about on the show. I don't need to go into that part of it, but to first see her, of course, get home safely, to get the help I'm sure that she needs, and now to see her starting to live her life again, and as a professional athlete, to be able to do that in front of all of the fans all of the attention that comes with it, but just looking happy, looking like she's enjoying life. She played well. My hat goes off to Brittany Griner. And hopefully this is the end of that chapter of her life and she can move on to the next one, chase championships and more frivolous, but certainly more enjoyable things. Thank you, Braden. Thank you, Elliot. It was a jam-packed and bloated episode. We should really find like a Gas X sponsor or something for the future of this show. That would be fantastic. But in the meantime, I want to thank all of our listeners for joining us this week. As I teased a little bit earlier as well, Tuesday we will have the Pit Stop podcast looking at the Monaco Grand Prix. Tyler and myself will break down all of the exciting drama that happened for the second half of the race. Of course, the first half being Monaco. We also have a new episode of the Ellipses Thinking podcast out this Wednesday, so check that out wherever you get your podcast. You can learn more about all of our shows at the Ordinary Podcasting Network's website. That's ordinarypodcasts.com. You can follow us on Instagram. Follow us, I guess, on Facebook. Probably still have a Twitter account. I don't think anyone ever uses it.
Follow Braden's OnlyFans.
And we'll leave it there. All right. Thanks, guys. That was Hat Trick. Hat Trick is a member of the Ordinary Podcasting Network. It's produced every week by Jordan Dowler Coltman and Braden Dowler Coltman. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for listening.
The Ordinary Podcasting Network wishes to acknowledge that the lands on which our conversations take place include Treaty 6 territory, the traditional meeting ground and home for many Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, and the Nakota Sioux peoples, as well as the unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.
We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for generations. And we extend our appreciation for the opportunity to live, create, and share stories on these territories.
The Ordinary Podcasting Network intends to engage in conversations and dialogue which acknowledge that reconciliation is not a destination, but a journey, and that we remain committed to practicing our craft in a decolonized space.